Don't toss that old suitcase before you see this. I'm selecting an old suitcase that has a perfectly flat bottom. Using a soapy dishcloth, I'm giving the suitcase a good clean inside and out. Laying down some paper, I'm placing the suitcase on top to prepare it for painting. Choosing a white tone, I'm painting the entire outside of the suitcase, including the hardware, so it will have a cohesive look. Using a Lazy Susan makes painting all the different sides much easier. Since the suitcase requires 2 coats, I'm now choosing a slightly warmer white called Raw Silk Infusion Mineral Paint for the second coat, so it chimes in better with my vintage vibe I'm going for. To add some vintage detailing, I'm marking the middle of the top of the suitcase, then doubling up some thick painter's tape to create a thick middle stripe. Adding several rows of thinner tape on both sides, I'm now removing the pieces of tape where I wish to paint some stripes. I'm also taping the front and the back of the suitcase while working around the hardware. Reaching for the suitcase base color, I'm painting along the tape edges to help seal the tape to reduce paint bleed. Once dry, I'm now choosing a deep teal paint color that ties in with the inside fabric color. For the 2 remaining stripes, I'm painting them in Algonquin, which is a lovely tan to add some warmth. I'm painting one section at a time, then removing the masking tape while the paint is still wet, which helps further reduce paint bleed. A small artist brush is being used for small touch-ups where needed. Now opening the suitcase, I'm taking inside measurements of the height and width, then transferring that to some bulletin board so I can score it down to size. Flipping the bulletin board good side down onto some burlap, I'm cutting around the board, leaving some overlap. Then stapling the burlap to the board and finally attaching Velcro to the back. To give the board a more finished look, I'm cutting some cedar strips to the size of the board, then hot gluing them around the outside to create a frame. I am also using 3 cedar strips to fit inside the suitcase lid. After attaching Velcro to the backs, I'm measuring, then screwing small cup hooks into the strips. To create a shelf, one mid-sized board is being cut to fit inside the suitcase. To make installation easier, I'm placing the board onto 2 paint cans with a level on top. I'm penciling the sides of the suitcase where the board placement is, then pre-drilling and screwing the boards to the suitcase sides. Choosing an old vintage dresser as my base, I'm placing the suitcase on its side onto some boards to give it some height. I'm attaching the suitcase to the wall with 1 screw, adjusting the level, then adding more screws to further secure it. The bulletin board is being stuck to the inside above the shelf. To install the hooks, I'm using a level along the top of the boards, then attaching them to the sides with Velcro. Then reaching for some keys and office supplies, I'm loading up the suitcase to create a cute and compact writing station. With the lid closed, my cute suitcase cabinet looks neat and tidy, as if it's a piece of vintage wall art that matches the tones of the dresser perfectly. Then once open, I have all the necessities a writing station needs. On the left, there's loads of hooks for keys and hanging office supplies. Then to the right, a handy and compact bulletin board to display needed notes. The handy little shelf adds space, so I have more area to store other handy office supplies. Keys and notes are needed, but when exposed, they can make a space look cluttered. Thanks to the suitcase lid, it's easy to close off the visual noise to keep your space looking tidy and cohesive. That's beauty and function all in one. While I use my suitcase as a writing station, you could also hang paintbrushes, sewing or crafting essentials, tools, or remove the lid and create open shelves. I hope this inspires you to give an old suitcase a second chance to create helpful and beautiful storage for your own home.